This is the Rogue review. I haven't seen any of these cards, but what I did see is arguably my favorite flavor text of all time in Hearthstone, which is "You mean Prindle? If you know, you know." This is Gear Shift. 1 mana Rogue spell. Shuffle the 2 leftmost cards in your hand into your deck. Draw 3 cards. Aggro loves this card. It's very good in aggro. I guess I don't really have to say anything else because this is probably only going to be played in aggro. In like mid-range / control decks, this isn't good enough draw for Rogue to really be excited for. I'd rather just play Sprint at this point. But in aggro, you flood the board, you play your whole hand, you play Gear Shift, you just draw 3 cards for 1 mana. And if Secret Passage has told me anything, 1 mana draw 4 is really good. I would imagine that 1 mana draw 3 is pretty great. That being said, I don't know what kind of deck this really fits in currently. We don't really have a Rogue deck, and I think Miracle Rogue would probably play something else instead. Maybe I'm undervaluing this card a little bit in Miracle, but I think if there is an aggro mech deck, which I imagine based on the Titan that we have seen already, that's what Rogue's gonna go for this expansion. So let's see the rest of these cards. Tarslick has +2 attack on its opponent's turn. I see what you did there, Blizzard. Tar Creeper, classic. 1 mana Rogue spell, minions take double damage this turn, deal 1 damage. Is that really what? This doesn't really feel like a Rogue card. This it's like that neutral minion. Do you want what the hell? I guess best case scenario for this is like you deal 2 damage to a minion, or you just hit 1 damage to your opponent's face, and maybe spell damage does something here. Just feels weird. Like even if it only said enemy minions take double damage this turn, like I guess it'd be a little bit better because then you could trade your own minions into them. It doesn't feel as bad, but I guess you could still trade up with your mechs. That's not like the worst thing in the world. I feel like this card is just very niche and it doesn't really fit what Rogue wants to do, because if you're playing an aggro mech deck, you don't really want to trade your minions anyways, right? You want to hit face, you want to kill your opponent. So like, I don't really see the point of this card, but maybe there's something there that I'm just not noticing, or maybe it synergizes with a different card. Let's see. From the scrap heap, 2 mana Rogue spell, get 3 1/1 magnetic spark bots with random bonus effects. So I think we've seen these before. Yeah, like they're like Divine Shield, Taunt, Rush, Wind Fury, Lifesteal, Stealth, Poisonous, and Reborn. I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. I actually genuinely think that if these were just minions on their own, some of them might actually just see play. Like I think this one would see play on its own because it's so strong. Because it changes how much damage you have, and then your opponent always has to play around it. And the best case scenario for this actually is like you play this on turn 2 with maybe a minion already on board, and then you just stack 1 mech with all of them, because Divine Shield Wind Fury makes a very scary mech. I could see it. I could see this. It fits into the aggro deck. It kind of doesn't really work with Gear Shift though, so maybe you pick one or the other. And if I had to pick one, I think I'm picking Gear Shift. Can't really remember what draw Rogue has at the moment. They have some decent options because Miracle Rogue exists, but if you need a mech package, and this is a pretty good card. I actually am really scary. I'm really scared of Magnetic Wind Fury here. I think this is going to be a very spooky effect, and you always have to play around it now. Anytime a card like this is played, you gotta think like, oh, what if they have Wind Fury? People are gonna hate this, if I'm gonna be honest, but whatever. Kazimite Creation, I hope I said that right. 2 mana 3/2 battle card. Discover a spell from another class that costs 3 or less. What? Okay, I was expecting like only mechs to be pushed here. Why are they pushing like Thief Rogue? So I'm gonna be honest, in like 2014, 15, 16 Hearthstone, this card is so freaking good. But now 2 mana 3/2 discover a spell from another class isn't the greatest thing in the world. Now, the thing that makes this interesting is that you know what kind of cost it's going to be. So that could make it good, but I still think this card's probably weak. Maybe in Thief Rogue. Is Thief Rogue even played? I have no idea. I'm not optimistic on this, but I guess if Thief Rogue ever makes a comeback, people just like Thief Rogue. So I think that's like why they make these kind of effects. I don't know. Not optimistic on this. This could have been a 1 mana 1/3, and I think it just would have been a strictly better card. But I guess Swashbuckler already makes that spot in your deck, so why would you want? But you would always want that. Whatever. I'm a little confused with that one. Pit Stop, 2 mana spell for Rogue. Discover a mech from your deck. Give it +2/+1. That's not awful. Discover a mech from your deck. Give it +2/+1. So it's like drawing a mech from your deck that you get to pick, and then you give it some bonus stats. And if you put it on a magnetic card that's even spicier, this card probably sees play. This card also can discover your Titan. If there's only one mech in your deck and it's the Titan, then you're like, yeah, I'm okay. I can get behind this card. I can get behind this. Is it good? Probably in a mech rogue deck, but again, it's very specific. The problem I can see with the rogue class though is if mechs aren't good in general, like what does rogue do? Does rogue just die in a corner and just cry for a little bit? That's what I'm worried for. But if mechs are good, then I guess this just fits the deck, right? Coppertail Snoop, 3 mana, 4/3 magnetic. When this attacks, get a coin, and it's a mech and a beast. Okay, cool. I guess it's fine. 3 mana, 4/3. Whenever this attack gets a coin, is not great. The only thing that's making me excited for this is the magnetic card, or magnetic keyword. Because again, if you have a mech on board, you basically can attack face, get a free coin. This is like a 2 mana, 4/3, and you did an extra 4 damage. You know, now that you say it like that, Rarran, thank you so much. Thanks for opening my eyes. It's actually a pretty decent card. Again, it all really stacks on as how good is the rogue mech deck, but at the moment, I'm feeling more optimistic with a card like this. Mimron, the Mastermind. Okay, so this is the rogue legendary. 3 mana, 2/5. After you play a mech, get a random one of Mimron's gadgets. Okay. The next turn you play, this turn costs 2 less. Are they all 0 mana? Oh my god. After you play a mech. Okay, that's good. 1 mana, give a friendly minion +3 attack against stealth until your next turn. That's spooky. 1 mana, choose 2 minions, they swap stats. That's really cool. This is actually one of the coolest things ever, because if you have 2 mechs on the board, or 2 minions in general, the big one attacks and then you swap stats and you can do big damage again with like your opponent's face. That's cool. Horn, Taunt, Divine Shield. Oh my god. Rewinder, return a minion to its owner's hand. What? 1 mana sap off this is hella spooky. Okay. And deal 3 damage. I mean, all of these are good. Let's be real. So maybe what you do is you play this as a 2/5, hope it lives. And then, why can't I? Hello, Hearthstone? The Hearthstone website died. Then you play, well, you already played this and then you drop 3 mechs. The issue with a card like this though is, I believe if you magnetize, you don't actually get one of its gadgets, which makes me a little scared for this. Initiating flavor text sequence. Oh my god. I mean, if you can play mech for this card, it's almost, it could be game winning, right? So maybe you don't play this on turn 3, you try to stack a bunch of mechs, but in an aggressive deck, you don't really want to do this, right? I don't know, man. Maybe it's good. Okay, let's move on. We saw this card. This was one of the cards they released at the start of the expansion cycle. Again, magnetic stealth for 1 turn is a very interesting keyword. I guess if you really want to, you could play this into this on turn 5 or 6, and then your opponent can't interact with this, and then you just jam a bunch of mechs the turn after. It's kind of cool. Lab Constructor, 4 mana, 3/2 with Forge. At the end of your turn, summon a copy of this Forge, gain magnetic. Oh. Wow, that's... Okay, it's a mech, which is fine, but the cool thing about this, there's a lot of different ways of using this, right? If you have the magnetic on this card, you put it on a mech, next thing you know, you have 2 really good mechs. That's Picante, but you have to Forge on turn 2, which in an aggressive deck, you don't really want to. So maybe like with this card and the legendary, this is more of a mid-range deck than an aggro deck, but does that win games? Like, I haven't even looked at the Priest cards yet, but I already know what Priest plays. In its current state, I think Priest just absolutely rules this, especially because Priest has like the 1 mana silence card. Okay, I'm not sure about Rogue, man. I'm getting a little, we obviously saw this card. I think this card's still good, just in general. I'm a little nervous for Rogue. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if this is good. Maybe I'm like really not seeing it. The only reason I think this might be playable is because in, I believe, was it Festival? We got a 1 mana neutral mech. This guy. 1 mana 2/1 battle card. The next mech you play costs 1 less, because that might be game changing, right? You could play the Rogue Legendary with this. I'm not really sure. I'm kind of curious what you guys think. Let me know.